We've all heard of stories and seen movies where the kidnappers take a rich guy's kid. But believe it or not, this does actually happen in real life. Today we're going to share the story of a billionaire who refused to pay a ransom for his grandson. John Paul Getty III was a 16-year-old billionaire oilman's grandson, and was born in 1973. Paul Getty, who was reportedly the richest man in the world at the time, and is now estimated to be worth $9.1 billion, was abducted in Rome. His family refused to pay the $17 million requested by his kidnappers. Being worth billions of dollars and not being willing to pay a $17 million ransom is insane. So what ended up happening? Well, we'll get to that part soon. At 3 a.m. on July 10, 1973, the golden hippie, grandson Getty, was walking home along Piazza Farnese while intoxicated. He made a stop at a newsstand to buy a Mickey Mouse comic book and the paper for the next day. Three men wielding pistols rushed out of a car as it pulled up. Paul was quickly bundled into the automobile. "I didn't know if I had effed somebody's chick or whether they were the cops or something," he admitted to journalist Joe Esterhaas in a 1974 Rolling Stone interview. The men transported Paul to a cave in southern Italy, where he was chained to a stake along with other members of a ragtag bunch, including a carpenter and a hospital orderly. "Listen, kid, you're going to be here a long time," remarked one of the captors. "Don't do anything stupid." His mother Gail got a call the day after the kidnapping demanding a $17 million ransom. She initially questioned whether the police's conclusion that he had kidnapped himself in order to defraud his family of money was accurate. Paul had really boasted to pals about a scheme for the ideal fictitious kidnapping. Even Italian news outlets called it a fake. John Paul Jr. was unaware as he fled to London from Italian narcotics accusations connected to Paul's death. Pearson remarked, "He lived on heroin and chocolate chip cookies. He was ineffective and out of it." Gail struggled in vain to raise the funds for weeks. Old John, meanwhile, gave a chilly statement to the media, saying, "I don't believe in paying kidnappers. If I pay even a single penny today, I will have 14 abducted grandchildren in addition to my existing 14 grandchildren." It's good logic, except who cares this little about immediate family? There had to be another way he could help his grandson. The captors kept Paul intoxicated in the cave and rustic cabins with cheap cognac. He received a radio as well as a pet bird. He was released from his chains each day for an hour of walking and smoking. By leaving little scratches on a rock, he kept track of the days. The kidnappers grew angrier after 50 days went by with no activity. 3 months into his captivity, early one October morning, Paul's captors gave him a haircut. He was forced to consume as much food as possible when served a supper of 5 steaks the following morning. The kid was then blindfolded and given a cloth to put in his mouth. As the guys fastened his head, arms, and legs, he bit them firmly. Then, using a single swift motion and a razor-sharp blade, they cut off his right ear. Paul recalled how the wound grew seriously infected and the penicillin he was given poisoned him, saying, "I was vomiting. I was immobile for about 10 days. I frequently become angry with myself." His ear, some of his hair, and a note threatening to deliver the other ear, if the ransom wasn't paid in 10 days, were placed in a suitcase and sent to the Il Messaggero newspaper in Rome. However, a nationwide postal strike made it take the horrifying package 3 weeks to get there. The family reduced the ransom down to $2.9 million after Polaroids of Paul, showing his malnourished body and missing ear, were left for Il Messaggero reporters to find on the side of a highway. Old John reluctantly contributed $2.2 million, the maximum amount that could be written off as a tax deduction, and gave his son the remaining $700,000 on the condition that the money be repaid with 4% interest. Pearson thinks the debt was never paid off. 5 months after Paul was apprehended, on December 12, cash was exchanged at a meeting place in the Italian countryside. He was released 3 days later. He started to walk, and the cops and his mother soon scooped him up. A press throng anticipated the teen's arrival at Rome's main police station. A week or so later, back in Rome, Paul was as well known as a Rolling Stone. Complete with shouting females and fan mail, all the letters, Paul recalled Esterhaus, essentially said, "Give me your CK." Paul called the homecoming total pandemonium. He called his grandfather to express his gratitude for providing the funds. However, old John refused to answer the phone. His last words to Paul were through a middleman, "Good luck." 9 members of the 'Ndrangheta organized crime organization were finally detained for the kidnapping, and 2 of them were found guilty. Of the $2.9 million, just $85,000 was recovered. The boy's life was destroyed by the incident and the heinous neglect. He overdosed on drugs at age 24, and as a result became disabled. Is this what happens when you don't look after family? What do you think about this story, and do you think Getty should have just paid the $17 million? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, don't forget to like and subscribe.